Hi, everybody. If you've been wondering whether you are connected to spirit or whether you're doing it right, I have news for you before we go any further. You are already in the field. This is Always Connected, and I'm Suzanne Giesemann, and that's our topic today, the field to which we connect, from which we arise, from which we can't be separated. I'm really thrilled that you're joining me for our premiere of Always Connected. I was guided to do something new for the new year, so you're joining me for our first time to actually bring some of our Awaken Way community onto the screen with me, live, unscripted, and address the topic of the week. As I said, this one is the field. We're going to talk about it, but you're going to experience it here. All of my daily interactions with spirit for about 19 years now have led me to such a place of trust that I didn't have to make notes for today. I'm just trusting that my guide, Sanaya, and Joy, Spirit, God, the source itself, is going to guide all of the discussion and our interactions today. So it's modeling trust, really, in that I know that the perfect answers will come to those who ask questions. I know that the insights will arise, and we're just going to celebrate the presence of spirit here together. I hope you can feel it already. I've been a little jittery all morning, but it's not from nervousness. It's from the spirit, the power that's been building as my guides prepared my field to be part of the greater field, so that just what all of us need as one field, one community, the Awaken Way community, come together and grow together. How cool is that? So what we're going to do each week, unless I'm guided to change it, is just talk about the topic for a little bit and then bring some of you onto the screen. I can see that the waiting room is already filled, so please don't get frustrated by pushing that button and trying to join. When I speak to somebody, and they're finished, I'll ask them to leave the stage, and that'll leave room for somebody else. But I don't know how many of you will get to today. We're just going to flow, right? And then afterwards, we'll have what I call the wild card moment, where we wrap it all up with something straight from spirit, whether that's a guided meditation, a new practice, some channeling. I have no idea what's going to unfold today. So let's see, huh? So we'll start with the topic. Let's see, today's topic, we'll put it right there. You are already in the field. Right, we're going straight to Rumi, my favorite quote. Out beyond right doing and wrongdoing, or ideas of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field, Rumi said. I will meet you there. This field is not a place. It's a state of pure being. It's beyond all the stories that you and I are living. It's a place without any drama. It's a state and a place of pure potential. When we realize we're not just in the field, we are the field, that's when miracles manifest. That's when we sense exactly what we need moment by moment. How did I come to know this field? Back in 2006, when my stepdaughter Susan died, struck by lightning, and I was so devastated, I didn't know anything about the field or source. I was raised with no religion, no spirituality, but I knew that Susan had to somehow exist. So I went down the path of learning about mediumship, connecting with those who have passed through mediums, having no idea as a retired Navy commander and having never seen spirits that I would one day be a practicing professional medium. My only goal was to connect with Susan. So I began sitting in the silence every day. I had no idea at the time that I was tapping into the field. And even as I say those words, it's a connection that already exists. So what the guides just said right now, there's my first lip twitch of the program, was that I was coming into resonance with the deeper vibration that is our very essence. By sitting quietly, all of us dampen the noise of our noisy personal fields, and in a coherent state can match the vibrations of higher consciousness. So that's what my daily meditation to connect with Susan was allowing me to do, but I didn't know it at the time. So I remember a moment when I sat in Janet Nohavic's class. She was my original mediumship mentor, but I wasn't a student of hers. I was there to write her book because I wanted people to know mediumship was real. She called me to the front of the room and said, "You can do this too, Suzanne. And if you watch on YouTube my documentary, Messages of Hope, you'll see we recreated that moment where I brought through irrefutable evidence of one of the people in the class's father with his actual nickname, Twinkle Toes, and that he passed of cancer at age 70. It stunned me. That was the turning point for me when I couldn't help but ask, how is this possible that I, this seemingly separate person, not connected to anything, or so I thought, could just stand with an intention to discern information and tell the presence of somebody who had died and find out things about them that I couldn't know. And the fact that this brought such joy to that woman, to know that her dad was still right here, just was icing on the cake at the time. I just picked up goosebumps. Did you all just get goosebumps? That's the field rippling up in your field. So in searching for the answer to how is this possible? And you may be wondering, how is mediumship possible? How can you know things about somebody you live with when their thoughts pop into your mind? How can we have precognitive dreams? How can we get guidance from guides, from angels? Well, I was led to a book called The Field by Lynn McTaggart. So it's easily 20 years old or more now. I don't even have my copy with me here, but I got it on Kindle because it was a go-to reference for me at first. Now, I was a liberal arts major, and this book was filled with science, quantum physics, but in a way that laymen can understand. And as I read it and discovered that what Lynn McTaggart calls the field and other people call the sea of consciousness, and some call the Akashic records, I realized they're all speaking of the same thing. So whether you call it the field, the Akashic records, whether you call it source, God, joy, it is this underlying fabric, of the tapestry of life in which each of us are the threads. So I love to teach in analogies. That's one right there, that we're all woven together as one tapestry. You might also picture a sheet, one cloth, and the sheet might get wrinkles in it. And each of us are where that sheet raises up, but it's all one sheet, all connected. The most common analogy is that consciousness, or our true essence, is like the ocean. And each of us is a wave that arises in our individual human lives, hopefully for many, many decades. That wave is traveling and flowing as part of the ocean, and then it subsides. But that doesn't mean when we pass from these bodies that we go away. We're still part of the ocean, and that ocean is divine intelligence itself. It is self-aware with a capital S and a capital A. And so as the story that we as these waves are living now is needed and perhaps can add to the whole by arising again, it will. And that's what we connect to when we connect with loved ones across the veil. The individual fields or waves of each aspect of consciousness. So that's the field in a nutshell. And that's why we can't be separate from it. It is right here. Where? Don't go looking for it. It is you, your essence, but not the story. So how do you find the field? The guides say we'll give you a taste of it after we interact with each other here in the next stage of the Always Connected show here. So they want us to simply trust that you've always been the field in expression. It's so close we don't realize it. When I asked, how is this connection possible? How do I discern the word twinkle toes from a man who's died? It's because we don't die. The field itself is eternal. Is that the greatest news ever? That's why I just love sharing mediumship, spirituality, the awakened way with as many people as possible, because this is the best news ever, to realize that what you're seeking is already here, and it is you. So look no further. How about that? So in this second topic here, let me bring up the next little thing here. As I bring each of you on, I want you to know I don't have all the answers. I've learned that pretty quick. I've done enough reading to have a couple PhDs in metaphysics over the last 19 years as I dived into how is this possible. And yet there's nothing like the freshness of tapping into spirit, tapping into the field in the moment, and getting the highest possible answer for what is arising from the field in the moment. If you've taken any of my classes, whether in person or online, or if you've gone on my Awaken Way cruises with me, you've seen how I've learned to interact with spirit and not feel I have to do it all alone. So as I bring those of you who are waiting off stage onto the screen, I'm going to try to slow down a bit because I can feel the high energy from everybody. Take a breath, exhale, and connect my waves with your waves, and with Sanaya's, my guide's, waves, and discern what is the best response for each of you. And it's going to be different. And that's why we can't plan or script this. So won't this be fun? Are you ready? Spirit says we're ready. And I often see this in my mind's eye. So let me just remind you, this is not about connecting with your loved ones from me today. This is about showing you how to do that yourself ultimately, and your guides and the angels and your own personal advice and insights by tapping into the field. I'm going to model that today. So I hope that what you're bringing when you come on stage is a question about the topic that we have today, or possibly an issue you've been dealing with that will help everybody. So are you ready? I see the first person in the room simply has on the label here, Richard. And I'll bet it's Richard who joins us every week in the Awaken Way podcast. Richard, I don't see your camera on, so we just see a blank screen. There you are. You had it off. Hi, it is Weekly Richard. How you doing, Richard?
Can you hear me?
Oh, hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, okay. I was having I'll figure it out, but I was having a little trouble connecting with the chat, and there was like two windows open, but I'll figure it out.
Well, you know what that tells me, Richard? It's like all of us. Oh, that's so cool. We say we walk in two worlds, and there's really one world, right? The spirit world and the physical world are not separate. It's the one field. So you were distracted because you had two windows. And that's what happens with all of us. We get distracted, and it's like, where do I put my attention? And it's that wherever you focus, that's what you get. So happily, you figured it out and gave us a little teaching moment.
Well, I still need Meredith to help me out. I'll get in touch with her. But anyway, I'll get to my question here, okay, instead of my particular problem here. But just before I asked you my question, I did want to say this, that you are the personification of unconditional love.
Oh my.
That's why we all in this community, we just love you. We do.
Well, I try. I put it, my human side really tries, but it's been the tapping into spirit over the 19 years, Richard. It absolutely changed my life. I feel that connection, and that's love. And so once all of you feel that, you're going to want nothing more than to be that, because it's what's breathing us now. And so it just changes your life. So all of you being here right now is your soul saying, yeah, I not only want that for my human story, but that's why I came here. So thank you for the validation that we're on mission, right?
Okay, my question.
Yeah.
My question. I wrote it down because I didn't want to mess my chance up here. But
okay.
Well, you remember what we did with notes, right?
We throw them out. Yeah, that's right.
Somebody did that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, when you trust spirit, your human side says, I got to be prepared, and then you just throw them away when you get here and say, Spirit's got my back. Everybody, aim to get to that point.
Well, okay. I'm not that good yet, so I'll read what I wrote here, and it's not long.
All right.
Exactly the words that I wrote. Sanaya, Suzanne, do you have any suggestions or methods how to remember and recall your dreams more clearly and vividly upon awakening in the morning?
Ah, very nice. And I got a lip twitch as you were speaking, so we'll unfold what thought you just gave me, Sanaya, there. They are saying that trying to remember them in the morning actually causes them to disappear, because it takes you from the wide open connected state you're in when your awareness is dispersed in sleep, not focused on doing, and it takes you right back into that constricted human state. So what they suggest, they're showing me my nightstand where I have a pad of paper and pen there. If you've seen the documentary Wolf's Message, you saw us create the bedroom scene, right? Or I have that pad. So get that and put it by your bed. I have a feeling you already do. But and so set the intention before you go to bed each night. May I have dreams that are helpful, coming from the soul? Okay, so not just random dreams from some TV show you watched before you went to bed, but from the soul level and from my guides. And may I recall them upon awakening. So you set that intention. They say you can make it a little more powerful by, with this intention, I am going to remember my dreams in the morning. So that's your intention. It's not asking, it's a done deal. And then as you awaken, that intention is going to be an awareness right away. And so before you shift into that human awake, got to get busy mode, hold that drifty state that you're in when you wake up. This morning, Ty, I nudged him. He always rolls over and we spoon before we get up. And I'm nudging him and he didn't do anything. I said, hey. And he said, oh, I'm dopey. Well, hold that dopey state, right? Hold that and roll over and say, may my dreams arise now. And they're going to arise from the field, not from your memory. This is the key. So it's the perfect question for the topic today, Richard, the field, because they don't come from you having to do anything. Your intention brings it right back up from the field, and they're fresh in your field because they happen in your field during your dreams. But your field is just a subset of the greater field, you see? So just hold that dopiness, that's a silly word, but hold that drifty state, lean over and just say, all right, I'm ready for my dream to arise. Relax and look. And if you notice yourself trying, even our face scrunches up, relax that and watch what arises.
Okay.
How's that feel?
Very good. Very good.
You going to do it tonight?
Yes.
All right. You're going to have to let us know. Maybe put some comments in the chat next week. All right.
Okay.
You know, Richard, I knew you would be in the first 10 who got in the room. But I'm going to ask anybody who shows up today, I'm going to ask you each as you're finished to press the little red button that says leave the studio. And then, Richard, I'd ask you not to come back next week, and anybody who's on each week, so that we get new people every week, because there's only so many. But it was a joy to have you pop up first. Thank you.
Thank you.
Being a member of the community. And I'd ask you to leave the studio, but with gratitude in my heart. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Suzanne. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, yay. Thank you, Sanaya. And this is exactly what we were hoping for. Questions and issues that help everybody, that apply to the topic and allow us to tune into spirit to get the answers. So we see Jorge waiting up. This is so cool because, Jorge, get ready. I'm about to bring you on the stage. It's so funny in spiritual circles. Many of you have probably noticed, like I see in my online and on in-person workshops, we have 85% to 90% women usually. And our first two guests in the Always Connected show are men. How cool is that? So here comes Jorge. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Suzanne. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Yes, we can.
Okay. So, thank you for having me here. It's my first time live with you. But unlike you, I've been aware of this spirit world my whole life.
Awesome.
But I had two triggers. One was my mother's passing in 23, which I was very close to. I saw her last breath, and that was a changing kind of a milestone for my spiritual journey. I was close to her, and some entity woke me up. I've literally felt someone, a light coming and grabbing me from my shoulders, pulling me off my bed so I could be with her
Wow.
just at the last breath.
Awesome.
So that was, and she was very peaceful. So nothing much, I'm getting a lot of goosebumps with this. Nothing really extraordinary happened, apart from the fact that I was very calm and I could stay with her for the next 3 hours, just, like I was taking care of what was there, whatever was there.
May I comment on that? What I perceive as you say that is, this is a beautiful example, Jorge, of how the field gave what was needed in the moment with that nudge, get up and go to your mother so you can be with her with the last breath. Many people would want to know, who was that? Was it somebody else in your soul family across the veil? Was it a guide? And this is where we say, does it matter? It's the field. It's all joy. So please continue.
Yes, that's, my first impression after, I was digesting that was, the question arose, who was it? But in time, that really doesn't matter. Maybe it was even her. I don't know. It doesn't
her
really
soul. Absolutely. Goosebumps with that one.
Huh. Anyway, when I did the grieving process and all that. And 1 year after that, I had a very strange episode. I'm not very active on social media, but I do have a certain pattern with it. And I was going one specific day at night. I was going through social media, and I went through a family member's social feed, which I don't get very much. And I saw the image of this beautiful young woman. And my first impression was, oh, this is the exact kind of person I've been looking all my life. Who is she?
Yeah.
I was kind of struck when I knew that that was an obituary. That young woman had passed that very day.
Wow.
What happened has been kind of a roller coaster since, because I couldn't let go of that. And one specific day, 2 weeks after that, when I was scrolling through her social media and, kind of being pulled into that. And then one day, as I'm used to do meditation and do that stuff for a long time, I was looking at my mother's picture and said, I know where this comes from. I know the patterns of my mind, so I know what my wounds are and all that jittery chat. And suddenly, when I was going through this, I could sense something coming in, like a fresh breeze, taking the form of a human form, a female form, coming, leaning through me, coming into my ear, and then a second voice, when my mind was dribbling, a second voice just whispered, okay, I can understand that, but please don't forget me. And that was a turning point. Now, the thing is, this has been 1.5 years. I've been going through a lot of mediumship sessions. I've been working with the Arthur Findlay College. When I started Googling, because, your name was the first name that came. First, the Arthur Findlay College. And then I was struck when I saw that you had gone through that too. So I said, well, these are too many signs and coincidences for me to just let go. And I'm getting goosebumps with this. And I've been going through with Grace, your beautiful tool that I was very reluctant to get into at first. But the thing is, I am still going through the process and looking through guidance, because for a long time, I tried to dismiss this as, is this real? Could this happen? Someone I haven't met in the physical life could just... And I had a few signs that it's a soul reconnection, and yet... So this is a great opportunity for me to, lay this onto you.
Yes.
And
so I love that you were drawn to the Arthur Findlay College, which is where I studied also when I found out about mediumship. But I don't sense, Jorge, that you're meant to be a medium, and I know you don't. I know you know that too. This is your personal quest, which is what many people who find my work are interested in. I want to make a connection, and that woman showing up and snagging your attention as it did was a catalyst. And I love the fact that you don't normally get on social media. That was part of the story, that something drew you to interact with that then, and you saw and were snagged by what you needed. This is how the field works with us. What we need is that was today's Daily Way message, is given to us beautifully in the moment. So you appreciated that. And now that formed a pattern that drew you forward. You know all this already. But what is it you're actually seeking? You're seeking this absolute knowing that the field will show up as what you need, but you're looking for it in forms. To connect with your mother is great, but the bigger picture is when you make that connection with your mother and perhaps the soul of this woman who passed, that keeps this lovely soul-to-soul connection going that we already have, and yet it's not the be-all and the end-all. So there's an underlying thing that's pushing you and pushing all of us, and that's this knowing that we are the field. And the individual connections, the wondrous moments, what we call the magic and the miracles, are what bit by bit bring us to this place of trusting and knowing the field is my very essence. So you could have the best evidence ever that you have this clear connection with your mother, and you will become more clear. But the basic step is to understand that what you're really going for is the awareness, I'm a soul, I am the field. You know this, but perhaps you haven't articulated it that way. And connection with any aspect of the field is possible for me and for everyone. How does that sit with you?
Yes, that feels the way. And what you said really made a point. I don't feel I am in a path of being a medium.
No.
I know I have something to build within this field.
Yes.
I don't know exactly what, and yet what will unfold. What I was struck by was this particular story with this particular woman, which, is it possible that someone that I haven't met could just come and have a reconnection with me to show me something else?
Yes, and Spirit says because you've known each other for 1,000 years, but not in this lifetime. And she was the catalyst. So how awesome is that? Richard, this was lovely. I could sit and talk and sit in your energy. Does he have the greatest peaceful energy, everybody? And I know that that's a result of you've known this your whole life, who we really are as souls, but now it's just integrating that into this crazy human story we're all living.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, what a joy. All right, bye. Oh, can you feel the love and the energy? Everybody, that's connection. Thank you, Sanaya. I hope that we're all learning from everybody's stories. I see that I need to put my glasses on. Kunte is how I'm going to pronounce this, but I don't see anybody in this chair here. Might have disappeared. Might have gone off screen. I'm going to bring this Kunte to the stage. Yep, look at that. Must have gotten bored. We'll give Kunte another chance if I see her come back. But in the meantime, Wilhelmina, you're next on my stage, but I don't see a camera. That's okay. I'll bring you on the stage. No, I can't. Your device is not connected for some reason. So we'll move on to Maureen. Guess what? By default, you're the next one up. You just went sideways on me. You were there we go. Welcome to the show. Always connected. We're talking about the field today. So what's your relevant issue or question?
Okay, I hope you can help me with this one because I've been in a dilemma since it happened. Okay. I was admitted to the ER and I was down there for several hours. In the early evening, they took me to my room. As they put me in my bed, a spirit came to me face to face. And I'm like, seriously, not now. I do not feel good. I'm not in the mood for this. I'm like, asked her to go away, and instantly she left. But afterwards, I felt so bad. Like, do they get insulted when we tell them to leave? And Does that have any foreshadowing on us in the future, trying to bring someone through?
That's a great question. Now I'm going to ask Spirit to help me turn this back towards the topic so we stay on topic today about being in the field. So we'll just, for the bigger picture, so this is an unusual event for you, I sense, to sense a spirit. So in a normal situation, it would have been, oh my God, I'm seeing a spirit for the first time, right? So
right.
What I sense as I tune in here is that was a spirit that, helps people in those situations. This is like I've seen candy stripers at a hospital, volunteers. That's what we call them in the U.S., young volunteers in the hospital. That was a spirit who likely was a nurse or such when she was in form. And
that's what I felt.
How about that? And
that's what I felt.
When they're in an unsafe feeling, like they need some help. And the first thing that I heard that I just made a note real quick as you were talking was she said one of her main jobs is to tell people it's not your time. So don't worry that was some portent that it was, you're going to cross the veil. Here you are doing better. But that she was just doing her job to bring comfort. Now, to answer your question, so that's how the field arose for you. And she noticed somebody across the veil who, because her soul still feels a desire to help, is still serving from across the veil, which is beautiful. So your energy field, they're telling me, was just in the right state that you were able to perceive. In fact, they show me the veil parted, meaning the filters in your brain were able to open up enough to allow you to have that experience because it served you. Now you know the spirit world is real. You've had that personal experience. We don't have to all have that to know what our soul already knows. But the field knew that in that moment, that would have a lasting effect for you, gave you that experience without frightening you to death.
I like that.
And they want to assure you that does not mean because you made them go away with your will and your choice that it won't happen again. And it doesn't have to be a crisis for it to happen again. So what we can all do is set an intention. You just close your eyes and say, Spirit, I'd love to have a closer relationship with you and the field itself, to know myself and all those in it as the field. And so I ask Spirit to make yourself known to me in wondrous moments and wondrous ways, and I'll do my best to not be frightened by them. I welcome them, and I always say, bring it on, right? So don't be afraid to really say, bring it on. And I know that Spirit understands your state of mind at that time, and there's no punishment or retribution because you made a choice to say, I'm not ready for this right now. Woo. Right. I have a motherly figure that just made my heart palpitate. You have a mom or a grandmother who had a heart issue and passed from that?
Yes.
Big love and hugs. That's mom, right?
Yes.
Yeah, big hug from her. Okay, she says you'll be fine. That was cool. All right. Thank you so much, Maureen, for coming on. All right.
Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So now I have to figure out how long we go with the chat. Are you all enjoying this? There's no way for you on this program to raise your hand, but let me feel it. Okay, got it. A big full body jolt there. So I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am. I see a couple people. I want to tell Lauren and Teresa, for some reason, your device is not showing connected. I think I learned from my staff that if you go to the actual YouTube channel or the link I sent out and try a different link, leave the program and try a different link next time, I'll be able to bring you on stage. But unfortunately, that's not working today. So I'm going to move on. I'll try to do at least 2 more of you today so I can see Donna. I'm going to bring you on the stage. Are you ready? Let me exhale and ask Spirit to help me tune into Donna. There we go.
Hi.
Welcome to Always Connected.
Thank you. The topic that I want to ask about is out-of-body experiences.
Okay.
Short reference to that is OBEs. There are people who have had out-of-body experiences spontaneously throughout their life, and there are people who seek to have out-of-body experiences. obviously an out-of-body experience is part of the field.
That's exactly right. When I wanted to say that, and Spirit said, let her talk. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I have a cousin who's working on this right now, and he's trying to engage me in this. And I have felt hesitations about that, questioning the purpose and the use of that, other than it providing more personal evidence of true self.
Yeah.
Also, the possibility of being able to help others that might have a need.
Mm-hmm.
And those seem like worthy reasons to pursue that. But in that field, there are also forces or beings or things that are not maybe of the light.
Hang on a sec. Donna, is it pause a second and stop whatever's making noise, because it's distracting me enough that I can't focus on you. So just back up a couple seconds.
Okay, so in the field, there is light, and there are light beings, and in the field there are other beings as well, and things that maybe I personally have a little hesitation about encountering. And so I would just like Sanaya's and your comment about out-of-body experiences, astral projection. Okay. Why do it? Is it worth it? Pros, cons, dangers.
Okay.
Thanks.
Very good. Pros, cons, dangers, etc. So Sanaya is guiding me to do a little drawing here.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, you guys, a dove. I live now on a road with dove in the name of the road, and one just flew and hovered right in front of my window. Woo, that was very cool. Okay, so let's say that this white page is the field, and every one of us, or the ocean, the sea of consciousness. Now let's go back to sea of consciousness and know that that's the field, the sea. And every one of us is a little whirlpool within the field. There's the dove. It loves the program. So this might be me, and this might be you, Donna, and this would be somebody else who's tuning in right now. We're one field on the show, but you can see that this whirlpool is not separate from the ocean. So an out-of-body experience is a misnomer, because as long as your body is breathing, you don't leave it. It's being breathed by the field. The wave, the eddy, the pattern that is you, the subfield, will still be here. So what we really want in an out-of-body experience is to move awareness beyond our limited, normally restricted and constricted pattern. So with intention, we expand our awareness, and it takes our awareness and our focus off our normal field, and we feel ourselves out here having a greater consciousness and greater awareness of the wholeness that we're a part of. And so then we would naturally interact with other fields in that state and have different experiences to ourselves. But the beautiful thing is, once you realize what the field is, everybody's basic essence, and you realize this body is actually, oh, that is so cool. Look how we were just given an example a few minutes ago of my heart palpitated. I noticed my physical body giving me a symptom, and I tuned into what is that, and I sensed that's the field of Maureen's mother in awareness. That was her arising in the field as Donna's, as Maureen's mother. I use the body. So why do we want to leave the body? Because it often distracts us and holds our focus. But just understand, whether you project your awareness out there and call it an out-of-body experience, or whether you stay fully embodied with awareness in the Hara, my latest teaching. I have a workshop called The Forgotten Center that talks all about and appreciating being fully embodied as a soul. I've stopped trying to do out-of-body experiences once I realized everything we need is in the field. Yes. You're already in it. That's today's topic. So great. have an adventure in consciousness and try out of body. It's one step in the process of becoming more and more awakened, which really just means more and more, moment by moment, aware you are the field itself. And the more you come to know that, your whole pattern expands and you become more coherent, meaning in resonance with the whole field. The more resonant and coherent you are, Donna, the more light you shine, and you don't even need to think about worrying about encountering lesser fields and patterns. So you're not going to have encounters with things that frighten you because you know I am the light itself.
Okay.
So ask for adventures in consciousness, but know that you don't need to go anywhere. You simply need to move your awareness to the center of your field, recognize it's part of the greater field, and it's all here depending on what intention and questions you ask of spirit. How's that?
That makes a lot of sense to me, and in some ways just sitting in silence and connecting in with spirit is by definition an out-of-body experience, because the consciousness is removed, or the focus is removed from the physical and all the stuff going on up here to being open.
That's true. But the challenge is, for years, I thought that going out there, even if I stayed aware of my body, was the goal. And the connection was not grounded with the body. So that's what the Forgotten Center teaching and the Hara has shown me, that the more I ground that connection, the more solid it is. And we all can still have what I call awesome spiritual experiences.
Mm-hmm. So just one last tiny thing is, some of these folks that I'm interacting with, they talk about how when they're out of their body, they see themselves, or they'll go into somebody else's house.
Oh, yes.
What is that?
That is something my human side envies. How about you?
I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it would be so cool, and I have tried from the ego to go to some other room in the house. I've had Ty years ago put something in an envelope and hide it in the house so I could try to find the envelope in an out-of-body experience and go inside it. It never worked. Let's ask Sanaya why. Because you were trying to feed the ego with experiences others have had.
Right.
And not trusting the field to arise as what's perfect on your individual journey. Okay, so other people have shown us what's possible. Now can we trust spirit to give us what we need? So
thank you so much.
Glad you brought that up. Thank you for coming on the show. All right. We're going to have a wild card moment shortly, so don't go away, because we're going to have something that Sanaya guides us through together. But I'm being guided to bring one more person on the show, with apologies to anybody we don't get to. Let me see if I can read the tiny writing down here. Brigitte or Bridget, you can tell me.
Hey.
Well, show. How do you say your name?
It's Bridget. My English friends call me Bridget, and all my American friends say Brigitte. So
okay. And Spirit says
I listen to both. Okay.
So welcome. What do you have to discuss about the field today?
Well, I think I'm enjoying hearing my guidance, but sometimes I wonder why things are flowing really well, and at other times it's crunch, hard work. And I'm wondering why that is. I can't quite work out what it is, or what I'm not doing, or what I'm doing that makes it sometimes easier or sometimes harder.
I love this, because I was awakened this morning and I couldn't go back to sleep. And after the last snuggle with Ty, I heard get up, and I got up and I put together all these notes that I'd been given recently about manifesting and why we manifest sometimes and other times we don't. I spent a whole hour putting this together, and it's going to be the main topic of my February monthly connection webinar, because we all have moments where we manifest spirit beautifully, like you just said. And that's when we're in the flow with the field. And there are other times when we don't flow. So the answer to that is actually going to take me probably about an hour next February. The link for that is on my homepage, the monthly connection for February. But in short, let's see how Spirit wants us to summarize that. And they say it's this the perfect way the field operates, that the lack of manifestation is the way of showing that the waves that normally want to flow have met a barrier and have to go around something. And often that barrier is our own personal field saying, I want to do it this way, without allowing that flow to happen. So we may not be aware that our personal desires are blocking the flow and normal manifestation, but the lack of manifestation is a beautiful indicator. That's the gift, to stop. They say that your intentions are generally, much more so than most, from the heart. So you may be questioning right now as I say this, but I try to stay aligned with spirit. And they're saying, look at the bigger picture of those around you. Let me just tune a little bit more to get this more personal answer for you. There are some long-seated patterns, and there's, speaking of mothers, there's something, you know how we all have that voice, oh my God, I sound just like my mother. I'm hearing that with you, that if you examine some ways in which you're still behaving that you were taught or told growing up that are not quite aligned with what will allow you greater flow in your life, and are willing to release them and truly be the individual soul you came here to be, even though you're part of the field, you'll see more flow. How's that sit with you?
Yeah. Because I was going to ask about my mother, because my mother passed away in 2020. My father and mother both passed away within 2 weeks of each other in 2020. And they sometimes appear in my dreams, sort of very sporadically, but it doesn't, I'm not sure, I can't hear what they're saying, or they're not saying anything. Maybe they're just standing there or sitting there. And I'm wondering, why are they in my dreams if they're not communicating with me?
Many times simply to let you know they're still part of your story, still part of the role you're playing here, and will always be part of your soul family. Dreams that are solid like that, you can't deny that they're there. Sometimes, often just a nod. Yeah, we're all still part of our family field, fields within fields, right? Mm-hmm. So go back and ask spirit and ask your mother, you know, what part of your voice could I let go right now that was just what you believed at the time and the way your story unfolded? And then ask spirit, what is my best path forward?
Wow. Yeah.
Cool. Very nice.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Well, I'm excited. That's pretty cool guidance.
Thank you so much.
You. All right. Well, thanks for joining the show today.
Bye.
Right. Bye-bye. Oh, see, everybody, this is what Spirit said would happen, that when we don't think we have all the answers and we just wait and listen moment by moment, this is what we can all learn to do and get fresh insights. In that monthly connection, there's a word I learned that I'm not going to share till February, but it's basically noticing what stands out, what's fresh. Yeah, guide said, hold on to that. We're giving you a lot to focus on today anyway. So my apologies to those of you who were in the waiting room who couldn't get in. You can try again next time, but those who did get in, please leave room for others. I feel that's a really good number to focus on today. So let's move on now. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please click subscribe so that you'll be notified of new ones. I do want to tell you before we move on to the wild card moment. Where is that? The wild card moment, that even though we have this new format, I'm going to very rarely be doing interviews again. And next Sunday, because I'm going to be off on travel and can't do this live, I'm going to play a very special interview with Lee Carroll and Monica Moren. You may know Lee Carroll as the channel of Cryon. We had a great interview. We're going to air it next Sunday. And then the Sunday after, I'll be back live, and hopefully every Sunday after that, to do this format again. So mark your calendars for the special Cryon interview next weekend. Some really great background on how that came to be and what Cryon has to say to us now and what channeling's all about. So we finished the interactive part, but Sanaya just said, you never finish interacting with all of us, meaning all of you, not just me. Because why? If you've been paying attention, because we are all part of the field. And joy, spirit, is the field. So I like to call spirit joy because There's something in us that knows that joy never leaves us, even when we're going through challenges. So for the wild card moment, I'm just going to tune in for a moment here and say, ask Spirit to bring this all together. Help us wrap this up with something that each of us can take as an energetic takeaway, they just said. That this is not just teaching or sharing or talking, that there's a vibration and a transmission that will take place here. Okay, they want to do a little bit of guided meditation, but also channeling because they're going to give us the words. So why don't you just set aside what you're doing? If you're listening to this afterwards and driving a car, please don't close your eyes. And let's see where Spirit takes us to bring together the sharing about the field. And Spirit says, close your eyes, please. Take a nice, deep, slow breath. And exhale all the air that you just took in, slowly relaxing as you do so. And settle in, and may these words become part of your individual field. You cannot be separated from the field. This you understand from having just heard this and seen examples of the field arising moment by moment. You are this field, but until you know that the field exists, yes, you think and feel that you must do it all alone. But what if you could relax? What if it is indeed a sea of consciousness of which you are a part? Have you not enjoyed moments of floating on a raft in water? Create that experience now in your mind. Envision a raft on warm water with a very warm sun shining down upon you, and you are floating now. All worries disappear. Feel the warmth. Let it permeate your body. Feel all worries and concerns drift away. You need make no physical effort. There is no strong current. You are bobbing ever so gently. You feel completely safe, protected. For a moment now, simply float. Do you not pay good money to go on vacation and reach this state of relaxation, to bathe in the sun and float on a raft? And yet in this moment here, you created that state of being. This beautiful being is your most natural state. You did not have to go anywhere or leave the body to experience it. It is here now, for you are this state of peace. And all waves that cause the raft to bob about more and more arise from the field. And you have come here in human form to learn how to stay on the raft without getting knocked off by the waves. The waves will rise and fall. As you have heard here today, you are the waves itself. But in this analogy, simply know that you are both the ocean, the raft, and the person upon it. All is arising as experiences in consciousness. In this very moment, your soul is rejoicing for the more opportunities you create through your conscious choice to simply float and remember yourself as the field in this most calm state. The more you notice the information, the sensations, the advice, and the connections contained in each wave that arises from the stillness. Take a moment now and float again for just a few moments in stillness. And does this not feel so good? All your cares set aside for a few moments. And some of you in this moment said, yes, but my challenges and problems are still here. I have momentarily just set them aside. And we say, yes, beautiful soul, you came here to experience these challenges so that they would bring you back to this state of coherence wherein you could discern the best guidance. Do you see how the cycles lead to healing? The pain leads to seeking, leads to these moments of stillness, and the guidance arises. This is how you grow and evolve and learn to shine brighter. Know that all is a collaborative experience. We did not merely provide healing through this transmission. You came to it. You were receptive to experiencing it. You created your own healing experience here and now. And the field rejoices. And the field is grateful. You are this field. You are so very loved. And now, from this state that you now have experienced will always be present, we will all come back together to normal waking consciousness as Suzanne counts you down. 3, 2, 1. Awake and alert, feeling awesome with a tool there to just instantly create peace and remembrance of who we are. How great is that? Oh my goodness. So let's see. You want more about the field? I can recommend a couple videos on my channel while you're here. When we're finished, do a search for Many Realities in One World. That's a title. You can go back to this video later and look up this title if you don't have a way of writing it down. That one talks about the field of consciousness. Another video that I've created in the past that's out there on my channel, look up the title, Who Are We? Where Do We Come From? So 2 relevant fields, relevant videos to help you remember that we're part of the field. So let's see. Let me go up here, turn that off. And turn this on. I'm sound engineer, video engineer. That is not working, is it? It's still showing up there. I know who we are and where we come from. I'm trying to get that little banner to go away, so bear with me. See what happens when we go into human mode? There we go. Let's hide that. There we go. Okay. So I just wanted to wrap this up by clearing out that technical challenge there, going back to spirit. They want me to thank all of you. Well, I was going to do that anyway. You have to understand that we don't do this in isolation. All of you joining in, look at this, 1,000 people live. That's pretty awesome. Brought your energy to the field. We are all uplifted and inspired by the presence of love, spirit from the field. And now just imagine your ripples going outward, changing the whole field. So please don't ever feel that you don't make a difference. One soul at a time brightens our experience here in this earthly field, in the one field where the light never goes out. Thank you, Richard, at the beginning for acknowledging the unconditional love. I strive to show that all the time. I'm still human. I have my moments where I fail, but we're all works in progress. But for now, wow, do I ever feel the love? And I send it all back to all of you. Thanks for joining us. Come back next week to watch Cryon. And then the week after, I'll bring more of you on stage. I just love this opportunity to share with you. Please go out and have a great rest of the day. Lots of love.